looks like, which would be terribly annoying. Bit rate is just, well, to say crap, it's not inaccurate. It is just complete crap today. I'm gonna go ahead and watch this back. So I'm gonna pause things for a second. Desktop audio is live, so let me turn that off for a second. Oh, now listen, but like the dropouts are bad. Dropouts are bad. Be just a second, folks. Okay. Okay, this is still just me waiting. Okay, it is a slideshow. That is confirmed. Well, the audio's working. And go live. We are live. That's really frustrating. Why is it so bad? I've got nothing running in the background. It might be third time's the charm. I just don't know what I can do to improve. Like, there's nothing running that would be problematic right now. Unless it's this site that's doing it. Could it be that? Let me, sure, we'll do this just to give it a good old try. No, it's not the site. Son of a bitch. Why is it running so poorly right now? Okay, well, it's not working. I'm going to try again. Be back. If it doesn't work, it still doesn't work. Oh, now it's working great. Like now it's working overtime. Oh, wow. Was it really that site? Sucks, because that was the... And now for something completely different. But yeah, now it's holding. Let me reopen. That means that site is filled to death with trackers. Which means, yeah, I'm not utilizing that anymore. Let's see, maybe it's just a stable connection now. Okay, no, it dropped. Oh, it most certainly dropped on this site. It's not as bad as it was. Okay, it's holding. All right, I guess we're sticking with it. Wow, it's going to be a terrible intro, though. It took forever for it to, like, stabilize out. That's all right. We'll chalk that up to... I don't like it. What if I do... Let me make... Yeah. Man, there was stuff I was going to do, we were going to talk about, because I'm, like, super curious to try this out if people are interested in it. Needs to hold over 4,000 or else this is just pointless. Guess it's working. This was completely different. Totally different than what is usually terribly unprofessional, right? Completely different. All right. It's working fine enough. I don't like it. Like it's not stable, but I think it's not dropping to zero anymore. So we're just gonna soldier on. Go with it. Rather than restart it. Because I don't know what would happen if I restarted it. Okay. Howdy, folks. I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics, and we're finally doing this stream after a lot of troubleshooting. I still don't like it. I bet I'm slightly slideshowy, but not like even close to what it was when I started it, so I'll take it. Looks like Kitty Cat decided to grab attention by tearing at a rug. That's the thing to do, Miss Nami. She's a goofball. Okay, so it should be running okay, and then we'll do what I'm gonna do, and then I might have to make it worthwhile, actually cut it together and edit it. Maybe folks would be interested with that. I don't know. Yeah, we're not hitting 0, so even if it's a slideshow, it's not the worst I've seen it. So that's fine. Okay, let me let's clear the palette here. Let's for one, let's do that. Just hopefully it'll stabilize things, and then we'll do this. Hey, there we go. Something with some life to it. Not too much life, but enough life. Turn me up. Oh, it's too much life because it's got lyrics. Alright, well, we're good there. Sorry, I'm watching Kilobits. Yeah, let's do something calm real quick. And yeah, I'm gonna check if this is watchable again. I was hoping we were good. But like, I would usually ask you folks, right? Like, is this watchable? But not really sure anybody's actually in here. So I've got to do it manually, right? Which will mean pausing this music in a second. I think this is watchable. Let me fucking check. Okay, it's a video. The video is slideshowy. And the audio's good. The audio's good, but man, the video is just not. Sure, I guess we'll soldier on anyway. I literally cannot think of another thing I can do to assist, which is unfortunate. Should be better than this. Skip track. Oh, I know you're on, Mr. VoiceBot. Skip track. Oh, you did this to me yesterday, Mr. VoiceBot. Skip track. Okay, then it worked. When I'm watching him, it worked. That's funny. Skip track. There you go. Okay. Oh, now the VoiceBot's working. Somehow the kilobits stabilized. Okay. Praise the machine spirit. Whatever. Oh, maybe it's because I got another viewer too. It prioritized me. I don't know how this shit works, but at least, you know, we spent the first, 15 minutes trying to get this to work. So that's excellent content. All right. So why did I title this and now for something completely different? We're going to do, I've done this a few times throughout the channel's history. It's been a bit, but I've done it a few times through the channel's history, where I actually try and break down some comic book news. I haven't done it for a very, very long time. I don't know if people are interested in my take on things, but we're gonna give it a go, and we'll go from there. So let's just go ahead and jump right in it. We'll start with the thing I'm the most interested in, and then we'll go from there. All right. Oh, oh, the funk is playing. Why is that playing? Oh, I need to do that, and then you guys are gonna hear it, so it's undone. Yeah, there you go, and then I'll turn it off. Maestro. Okay, music's back. Ah, super professional. So, one of my favorite writers, long history of consistently good work from every comic company, basically, with every comic company, basically. Um, he's trying his own thing, and they just say create our own series. It's not. It's not just a series. He's trying to launch a universe. He's trying to launch an imprint. So I'm very curious. This is CBR, so I don't know. There might be a better website with better information, but we're going to try this. At least he did do an interview. So he published his first story in 1978 in Weird War Tales number 70. He wrote my favorite Spider-Man story I've ever read, which is Kraven's Last Hunt. He's written for Vertigo. I believe he's written basically almost every major character between DC and Marvel at some point. I'm not sure if he has hit all of them. But Justice League International was a big one. Man-Thing, as it says there. And he's worked with so many awesome artists. That is very true. Mike Zeck, in particular, was on that Kraven's Last Hunt. I'm excited because Liam Sharp, I'm also a big fan of as a creator. When he's paired with an amazing writer, he's really good. When he writes his own stuff, so far, it seems it's not... certainly not up to the quality of some of his pairings like Grant Morrison or Mr. DeMatteis or DeMatteis. I'm still not sure how you pronounce his last name. DeMatteis? A lot of ways to pronounce it. But yes, collaborating with Spellbound Comics, I believe he's basically why Spellbound Comics exists. So it's kind of a weird way to phrase that. To launch 4 new series, which is a weird way that you put that line of comics. It says there, but here, like I don't 4 new creator-owned series. Oh, okay, never mind. My reading comprehension. I'm sure it's great. The Kickstarter for the first of each issues launches today. Okay, so that's out today. The D Multiverse, which, to be fair, that's very comic booky. Feature a superhero story called Anyman, drawn by David Boldion. It's a sci-fi story drawn by Matthew Dow Smith called Dodson, a fantasy story called Layla and the Lands of After with art by Sean McManus, and Wisdom, a supernatural western drawn by Tom Mandrake. So what's Liam doing? Maybe it's later? But CBR spoke with him about all 4, his collaboration with Spellbound, and the origins of the project. So to be fair, the only one out of these 4 that I would be interested in, of course, is Wisdom. Supernatural westerns are always kind of... I love weird westerns. Can you talk a bit about the origins? For most of my career, going all the way back to Moonshadow. I do remember Moonshadow. Not as new, but I've come across it. Through my days of Vertigo, and onward, he's bounced back and forth between mainstream characters and his own originals. He's always developing new ideas, looking for the next challenge, the project that will help me stretch and grow as a writer, which is what you should be doing. He's always on the lookout for the right venue to get those ideas. Enter Mr. Baldy. He has a long track record writing, producing for television. Okay, so I haven't read any of these articles before, but it looks like that's what this is. It's a vehicle to test out IP for adaptation, which is my least favorite kind of comic book writing. And we became friends. He mentioned at one point he'd love to run a Kickstarter for him, and even though we were on the phone at the time, he could probably see his eyes light up. Mr. Matias, of course, is an older gentleman, so it's a little bit more difficult to do that Kickstarter hustle. We started talking about ideas, and he pitched him the 4 that I've been nursing, thinking we'd do 1 and see it through a 4 or 5 issue mini, which would be the smart way to do it if you ask me, but let's keep going. And he gets all the credit for this, was to do all 4, which is a little much. First 4 issues, 4 pilots, exactly, that's So Dave Matias, not only as a comic book writer, he has done quite a few very iconic episodes and series of comic book adaptations for television and at least one or two for film. He wrote that Deathstroke animated movie from not too long ago, and he wrote oh god, what was the other one that he wrote recently? He wrote the Constantine City of Demons, which they stole the name from a very cool miniseries, Constantine's. Really cool Hellblazer mini. And it had nothing to do with that. It was actually an adaptation of All His Engines, which I don't know why they didn't just call it All His Engines, because All His Engines is great, but he wrote that as well, and I like that. So, to be fair, out of anybody who's done this kind of comic book writing, where you're not looking to make comics, you're looking to make money because the money's in film adaptation, or at least, adaptation period. Matias has kind of earned it, and he knows what he's doing. So I'll give it that much. But I still hate that. You should make comics to make comics. Would be available as both individual issues and in an anthology collection. He loved the idea, we got to work, and boom, it was born. The best part is that readers who purchase all four, which have lots of fun extras, essays, blah, 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 Tom DeFalco, right, will get a vote on which series will be the first to continue. I know what I said the first because our goal is to see them all to completion, but we've got to start somewhere. I would have started at 1 and see it through completion. But okay. Throughout his career, so this is the question, you've worked with a who's who of iconic comic artists. Very true. What do you look for in a collaborator? What made these four the right for the new projects? And why is Liam simply attached? Is he just doing covers? In which case, that's another angle I hate. Alright. Has so much respect for all these incredible artists. Sean and I worked together years ago on a 2-year run of Dr. Fate, which he loves. He's an incredible collaborator, blah, 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 with visual style. Layla returns to me as tackled in those 4 series. Required someone who create video. Okay, so just talking about him. He loves Sean. Great. Okay. Ben Riley Spiderman, which was recent. He wasn't familiar with him, but quickly became a massive fan. Quiet emotional moments for any man. So this is just talking about why he chose each artist for each series. It's not so much what he looks for a collaborator in general. It's specifically why he chose each for each series, which it works. At least Godsend, he's been developing for 20 years, so that's kind of nice. And he already had him signed on before this. That's neat. Okay, so why is Liam signed on at all? My guess is it's covers. Uh-huh. Okay. It's a very stock story, Layla. Hopefully it hits some better notes. I mean, he's a great writer. See, this one he's really trying to sell Godsend because it's been like 20 years he's working on it. So this is the one he has the most faith behind. I can tell right there because he's willing to put the Jack Kirby name there. And as a comic book guy, if you're going to compare anything to Jack Kirby, you better fucking know what you're doing. Okay. Gabriel Wisdom, of course, his last name was. Okay. Deadwood meets Lord of the Rings in an epic fantasy played out against the backdrop of the Old West. That could be fun. Okay, that is the fantasy story, obviously. Very fun color palette. Very fun paneling. So that looks like that could be a very fun read. As long as DeMatteis here doesn't get lost in the reads. Which, again, he's very good at not doing. So, could be very well. Any man at least begins a traditional superhero story. What keeps you from coming back to superheroes? Okay, this I'm kind of interested in. He thinks the metaphor of the superhero is a way to address both the best and the worst in ourselves. That's a great great one to do. It's a theme he explores in Any Man and Godsend, although in the latter, it's through the filter of characters that are more in the mythical gods category than superheroes, which, to be fair, mythology is mythology throughout human history. It's very similar. It's just we change the weight or the thematics. Not really the thematics addressed. We change the flavor, basically. You know, cape and tights instead of thrown on top of a mountain, right? Like it's not that different. I believe we all have far more power within us than we imagine. We're part of something bigger, more majestic and sacred, yes. These characters become symbols of the best, the highest potential in all of us. The dark underbelly of these characters, they also represent the aspect of humanity that hungers for and abuses power. It's a very old theme. It's been explored to death, but it really is an infinite well. So as long as it's not one of those explorations that's already been done, it could be very good. How important was it to explore different genres with each of these new characters? Okay. He likes to play it. He's a writer. He writes, so he wants to try different things. This is a supernatural western. I'm not a big fan of that panel. Like, I can see work was done on it, but literally going from this horse to this horse, the background detail is super jarring. Like, it's obvious that he spent the most time on this figure to grab your eye, but then these figures are so prominent that I really notice the lack of detail in them. Because it's about the same amount of detail that's done to these guys. It's a little bit more, but like the shift in detail from this to this, I'm not a big fan. How this person's standing and just set up, I'm not a big fan. That's kind of disappointing. This paneling's kind of boring. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this artist. That's disappointing. I don't like the color palette. Well, there's a lot I don't like about Wisdom. That's disappointing. You find projects informed or influenced one another as you went along. So it's not a connected universe. It's just a line of titles, which is good. Okay, that's a little bit better to do it. Yeah, let's see this. Yeah, that's what I thought. It only exists specifically for these 4 titles. Spellbound Comics only exists because of these 4 titles. That's okay. And no, they're not really connected. Okay. So, I really like this creator. I think it has potential to be like really good stories. But in terms of like what I would enjoy personally, I wish I would have seen more of Godsend's paneling and art. Just to see, because that's the one he's like, if he had to choose one, that would have been the one from what it sounds like in this interview. But this is high energy, very fun paneling. Reminds me a little bit like Sam Keith's style, which I really appreciate. Fucking love Sam Keith and what he does with panel layouts. And faces too, right? There's a lot of Sam Keith in this artist, which I really appreciate. He is underappreciated as an artist, Mr. Keith. So I'm glad to see that. I love the color palette. Like this I am interested in, even though it's not exactly my wheelhouse of reading or creating in particular. It seems more young adult. Very cool. I love, series like Bone, huge fan. Things like that deal with adult topics in a universal way. It's great. But then I looked at this, and this is not like, could I do this? Hell no. I'm not an artist. It's not my wheelhouse. But like, it's there's a lot of westerns that look like this, and I don't like any of them. Another one that even had a more unique art style, but still, like, I haven't gotten through, Seven Deadly Sins from TKO Publishing. It had this grimy, sketchy vibe to it, or whatever this is, and the color palette was very like dark and rough like this. It's not my kind of comic. If you look at Jack Irons, I deal with very heavy things, but I still want it to be vibrant and fantastic and eye-catching. And this, like, the thing that I'm supposed to be paying attention to is overshadowed by this guy. This guy is not great. I don't even know what's going on here, but I don't this. Right? Like, these guys are fine for what they're doing. Like, that's fine. This is fine even. It's still a little close to have that low detail, but it's fine. But this fella in particular just takes all the energy away from this guy. And then how this guy's holding this gun is look at that arm. Look at that. It's not good art. It's not terrible. There are many, many, many independent comics out there, particularly creator-owned ones, that are way worse than this in terms of art. And the writing could carry this, but this would not have been the page I'd show off. So if this is what they thought was the best, I don't want to see the rest of the book. Like, let me show again. That worth showing off. It's still, the guy doesn't really, for a Western with a lot of shooting, it looks like there's a lot of stuff. It's not that great. The monster design is incredible. Like, the character design there on the mount, this dragon, is really cool. This guy looks like every other guy on this page. It might be this guy. This might be Wisdom, whatever his name was, something Wisdom. But yeah, this really destroys almost this whole page. If I was an editor, I would have said, no, you redraw that. Because it's just so distracting. He's in the center. You're supposed to be looking at this guy, and you go straight to him, and he's not. Something's off. Something's very off, and the low detail, the drop in detail is like, you ever play a video game and the textures aren't popping in? Yeah, it's that. It's that kind of jarring to me. The full texture hasn't popped in, and it's never gonna, right? I get it, but again, like, even this paneling's like really boring. The facial expression, there's like no emotion until this panel. The writing's gonna have to carry this book, which sucks. Like, comics are at their best when the symbiosis between artist and writer is, when combined, is better than the sum of its parts, right? That's the best kind of comic work, in my opinion, especially if you're working with collaborators. But even individuals who are writer-artists can do that, where their art style emphasizes their writing style, and when they're doing both, it's better than had they just written a novel or had they just been an artist on a page, right? Yeah, it's kind of sad. And like, what is this? It's just like a stone arch? Is it? It's not very clear. Yeah, and this was not the page to show off. It's fine if it was just in the book, whatever, but it's not the page to show. I was sold on the idea, that original image, mainly because of the mount I was sold on, but now I'm like, just like, look at how terrible that is. This is not, who holds a gun like that? Nobody holds a gun like that, man. I wish him all the luck. I really appreciate this writer for what he's done for comics and how cool of a character he is to interact with. Very awesome, and the amount of prolific work he's done, that is incredible. It's very cool. But there's a lot of red flags on this project to me. The fact that it is, I don't know how many of these projects were before, but that it's there. Mr. Matias is referring to them as pilots, so they're not comics built for comics' sake. They are comics built for adaptation. That's always a red flag for me. I do not like that mindset. You can get some gold out of it. I can't name anything that was gold and was made for adaptation, if I'm being honest, but I'm sure it's possible. For me, it is a terrible mindset that has overtaken comic books as a whole, thanks to the fucking MCU, and it is just a curse I hope comics one day is able to shake off. And, you know, manga isn't made for adaptation. It's just how it grows and survives as a pop culture thing. The manga is made because the manga is how the medium that the story wanted to work in, and then they have particular studios who do that, and it's part of their chain of creation. It's not made for that. It's part of their system. It's still made to be a manga. If it does not succeed as a comic, as a manga, it doesn't get adapted. So why do you even worry about the anime thing before then? And that's what this seems to be doing. Is it's worried about the like a lot of creators who jump into this thanks to the MCU who weren't even comic fans. They're looking a million light years ahead to the astronomically improbable opportunity, and they're not looking at the work that needs to be done in the fucking trenches first, and that mindset bothers me. Again, DeMatteis has worked in both sectors, Hollywood and the comics industry, so if anybody can do that, I mean, sure, but no, it's heartbreaking. I want to see these tales told as comics. And this one, I just feel like it's basically a fucking storyboard for a movie pitch. That bugs me. This feels like a comic. It feels like it's utilizing the medium as the medium, and what may come may come. Like this one feels right. Just from the page, this one feels like it was just, let's get something down so I can pitch this to studios. And I think these were built the same way in terms of like what they're doing with it, right? But the difference in what the artist is doing is just night and day. One of them is showing a extreme love for the medium, in motion, in paneling, in coloring, all of that fun stuff, and another is getting the page done. That's the best way I can say it. So yeah, watch this. I'm very curious how it'll go. This is someone who has done prolific and amazing work, whose name many comic fans will recognize, but has never been an Alan Moore, has never been a Grant Morrison, has never been a Gaiman, has never been hasn't even been a fucking yes. Voice bot trying to get me to cuss less still. It's a valid effort. Valiant, in fact. I was trying to say that guy who Tom something. The guy who got a lot of shit and a lot of love for his work on Batman and Catwoman relatively recently. He's not even well known as that kind of writer, right? He's no Donny Cates, right? He was never put forward like that. I don't think he ever wanted that kind of spotlight. And when you're launching your own imprint, you kind of need to be willing to take on that kind of spotlight. And I'd like to see an older master, honestly, of this craft do very well on his own 2 feet. But that right there, and I don't like this where they're just kind of like, this is red, this will be green, this will be blue, this will be yellow, right? Wow, this one's co-created. He's given the artist co-creating credits. I don't like Tom Mandrake's lines and how he handled that page. I don't know, man. I'm reading a lot into it by like what the effort actually is that they're showing. But yeah, I don't like this either, because you saw what Layla and the Lands of After, like the color palette actually is, and that would have sold that way better. Like that just washes out his lines. And makes the shit look uglier just so you can focus on him in the middle, which tells nothing unless you're super into this, which, yeah, because of that. But I don't know. All of this seems like it's not doing enough, and I don't know. I hope it does better than what my feeling of it is right now, because that's super depressing for me if it goes how I kind of feel like it's gonna. But yeah, so pay attention to this, especially as a comic creator. When an old master tries something like this, it's worth seeing how it goes. And I don't know why Liam Sharp is attached. Like, again, I'm guessing variant covers. Liam is an incredible artist, and he can do some amazing stuff when paired with an incredible writer. But he's not in this. So I don't know, they just attached his name. Okay. It's very odd to me. But yeah, good luck on it. Let me, were you guys cool enough to at least link the Kickstarter? Because that was the point of this article. I think that's why either the Kickstarter, there you go, thank you. I was like, that would have been just terrible journalism. They wanted 10K, they're at 6K on day one. They're gonna fund. Good on them. But like, for 4 titles, they only wanted 10K? How many pages are each book? Like, these, I guess the co-creator credits. Yeah, see, this is gorgeous. The rest of these, that's a little better. Those 2 pages are a little bad. Why weren't you pitching those in the CBR article and you chose the worst? Yep, they're variant covers that Liam's on, like this. Yep. This is for the trade paperback. He did the multiverse cover. Okay. Yeah, I saw this too, and like, this was bad. Like, this is not how you do one of these covers. The graphic designer here, shit, because it takes completely away from the logo. Like, shrink that, I don't know, 20% on both of those, so it's not the same exact size of this and takes the direction away. I get they're trying to lead you, right? His brighter colors, they're trying to lead you. You don't need that. Like, this doesn't add anything. In fact, you could remove these 2 bubbles and it wouldn't add anything. It's supposed to feel like a classic comic book, right? But I hate doing this. Like, this is awesome. Look at this. Fucking gorgeous. And it's got an old comic book feel, but it's got this new, art style kind of bit to it. Like, and then of course this is a tribute cover. God, this guy does not know how to draw guns. That trigger is pulled. Like, I get most artists not drawing. Oh god, what do they call it? It's trigger safety, but there's a trigger discipline. That's the word. I know most artists don't understand trigger discipline. There's a lot of people who have never interacted with a gun who work in art. That's just how it goes. Like, I get it. And Hollywood in particular has kind of bastardized how guns are handled in the pop culture mindset. So I get, like, having your finger on the trigger is like a staple, right? Like, it's just how artists think that you handle a gun. It's not good. It's not smart. It's not the proper way. This is worse than that. And you're putting that on a cover. This is as if the trigger and the handle are the same, like, length. It's almost as if the trigger was inside that, which the closest you get to is if you're pulling it, right? And even then, your index finger is going to be farther forward. I don't think I've ever seen this. I don't think I've ever come across an artist do it that bad, and it's on both hands. And that hand and this gun is just terrible. Oh my god. And this is the title I was most interested in from the get-go, from the concept, and the artist is kind of wrecking it for me. That's disappointing. So, I don't know, folks. Like, out of these titles, this is gorgeous. Like, this story, I think, look at those colors. I think this is going to be the gem out of it. Like, bar none. I think this will be the gem. It's right in his wheelhouse of, like, awesome fantasy writing. The paneling is incredible and super evocative and stylistic. The art style is the same, with the colors being bright and vibrant and eye-catching. Like, this would do good by itself. Godsend's got this, like, Mike Mignola grime to it, particularly, like, on that right there. Cool. That paneling's kind of interesting. Like, it has a chance of being really good if that's what you're into. Any Man's color palette's really good. It's close to what I'm used to our colorists doing. And this paneling's cool. It's no rigid borders to the panels. I think it's supposed to be a montage, right? I don't know. It's going to fund, so we'll see. That price right there is the bare minimum it costs me to produce basically just the line art for, or not just the line art, but just the book entire, the digital file, I guess would be a completed digital file of a Jack Iron Steel Cowboy issue, which is 32 pages. Does it even say how many pages these are? That's what I was going to look into. Okay, you're pitching the series. I don't really care about the series. What is the... And they're using the X-Files meets blah 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 pitch, which isn't that great. I don't like this pitch. I think this guy just, again, is another guy who's like, there's money in comics. Well, not in comics, but in what comics can do. So let's make comics so that we can make other things. I hate that attitude. Does it not even tell you how many pages? $10 shipping. Fucking A. Okay, they're already complete, so somebody invested in them. That's good. They're charging $12 for a fucking PDF? As you can see, that doesn't really sell. No, it doesn't say how many pages you're getting. Really? DeMatteis deserves better. Oh, this is heartbreaking. He did work on Sandman. That makes sense. Okay. It doesn't even say. It doesn't even say. Okay, does it say anywhere? No. Let's see what the trade paperback does. At least try to sell you with the trade paperback, which, how much are they selling for? The collected. $55. Okay. Plus, was it 10 shipping? So it's $65 tax. It's about $70. And I don't even know how many pages I'm getting. Okay, frequently asked questions. How many pages? I'm fucking asking. My guess is they are at most the stock standard 22 page. At most. Alright, we're going to switch stories because this one's breaking my heart. I didn't think it was gonna. I thought it'd be fun and I'd dive into some interesting content. Breaking my heart. Okay, let's go over here. No, let's not do that one. That one's probably going to wreck my day. Let's do this one. The new Red Sonja movie. I probably had heard of it. Had no idea. And so there's a picture of her in the Red Sonja. Of course, they're not going to show if it's a chainmail bra and fucking loincloth. My guess is no. My guess is she will be mostly clad fully in armor, which will completely break her design. That's why they're only showing this much. Hey, but she has red hair. That's at least good. Because, yeah, if Red Sonja didn't have red hair, it'd be like Captain America still being called Captain America, but he's like wearing the a Chinese flag or something instead of an American flag. It wouldn't make much sense. You could do a cool story around it, but it wouldn't make much sense. So there wasn't much to talk about here, but like, it's coming out. Ah, okay, I was wrong. She's not completely clad, but they definitely chose this angle and this shot for a reason. So we'll see. I doubt it's going to be the cheesecake kind of movie we expect from Red Sonja, but it could be really good. The original Red Sonja movie from way back in the day is just campy, stupid fun. I really appreciate that. So if this could go to that, that'd be great. My guess is it'll go more like the modern Conan movies, which are a little too serious for what they're dealing with most of the time. But it doesn't need to go full on Arnold Schwarzenegger camp Conan either. So we'll see. Interesting. I don't hate it. I just don't. I know they chose this angle for a reason. Like even they are a little spooked to show off the design, right? All right, last one. Why do you think he was the best? The main thrust of the New Deal saw him combating various terrorist threats. On a deeper level story, burrowed. A second showing him conflicted following the unimaginable brutality of 9/11. Number 2 is an important one, which they've been trying to shy away from for last decade. Perfectly embodies the American spirit. At least this article was willing to use those terms. God forbid Superman embodies any of that anymore. Sure, we are the American. Yeah, okay. It's a suggestion to read Captain America: The New Deal. And it looks like it was handled very well right after 9/11. That's great. So those are the articles I wanted to check out today. Why is that still on? Go away. Go away. No. None of that. And then this isn't on. Alright. So that kind of covered it. I didn't expect much time out of those. The D. Matthias one. Heartbreaking, man. I tried. I think you could see when I was talking about it. I was trying to pitch him, trying to I can get behind this. And the more I saw, the less I could get behind it. And that is heartbreaking. It should be the other way around. Check it out, watch it. I think the energy behind it in terms of why it exists is wrong. I can't say it any other way. As a ground level independent comic creator who has consistently watched the industry pretend it's not comics, and attract creators who don't want to make comics, it's heartbreaking. Because this individual has made comics. He has made incredible comics. It's watchings, and he's made incredible television episodes and movies. I don't know how incredible the films were, to be honest. But there's a few episodes of Justice League he did that are absolutely incredible. He's written some really cool adaptations of the comics because he is a comic writer. That's what he does, and he was able to navigate that and transfer the medium successfully. That's not something every writer can do. In fact, we've seen it again and again fail. So again, I think he has a better chance. The problem is, it looks like with 3 out of 4 of those titles, they're just like the supernatural western. The artist doesn't look like he's going to hold his own as much as the writing needs to, which sucks. It's very distracting as a comic fan when you're watching or looking at art that doesn't understand its medium. I don't think that guy is a fan of westerns or western ideals, at least as specifically as they should be represented, if he can't even get a gun correct on a cover. That's not great. Layla looked incredible. It looks beautiful. I love its art style. I think that one's going to be a gem. I hope that does well. I hope that's the one, and I hope it gets an animated adaptation that would take it to the next level, right? Take the art style and the evocative nature of that paneling and such, and elevate it, because that's the goal of this series, not to make comics. Comics seem to be the byproduct, and I try not to use the word hate so much, but I hate that kind of thinking with comic creation. I abhor it. It disgusts me, and I've seen many indie creators go that direction, and it breaks my heart. Some are just naive and like, I'm gonna have the next Marvel universe. Like, no, the fuck you're not. Like, even I was that naive coming in, but I wasn't going for it for film. I just wanted to create a comic book universe. To be fair, I successfully have. Is it widespread? Is it well known? Is it high selling? No, none of those things. But I did it as a nobody. Mr. Matias is not a nobody. But 3 of the 4 of those titles felt like they came from... I haven't read them, but the artistic nature of them felt like they could come from anybody. Godsense Design was not attractive. He's just another Solar Man of the Atom with a different color palette, right? Like, even Solar had at least the goggles and more iconic design. The Western, again, the cover and how he handles stuff. He just looks like stock standard gruff cowboy who rides a dragon. Ooh, okay. The dragon looks cool. And then Any Man, it's the same thing. He could be any superhero. It's nothing unique about that design or that look. Nothing iconic. Heartbreaking. The whole thing, it breaks my heart, man. It really does. Ugh. Hurts my soul. But yeah, if you folks want more streams where I dig through some comic book articles, let me know in the comments, please. I doubt many people will watch this later simply because the first 15 minutes is junk in terms of quality. But who knows? If you do get this far, let me know. If you did watch this at all, please let me know. As you can see, the chat over here is dead. So I have no idea. But I think it was probably what I think I'll do, which I don't usually do, but I might even do today or after this, or maybe I'll even just stream it so I pay attention to it. I'm gonna cut out and cut apart the segment on J.M. DeMatteis's D-Multiverse and post that because it that's the thing. It's like post it as a separate edited video so it flows better, right? The problem is, again, I don't want to piss all over it. Like, I want it to succeed theoretically. Theoretically, like, I want this creator to keep making comics. I want him to be a bigger name because he's certainly earned being a bigger name, and he's not, and that's heartbreaking. But then I look at how this is being approached, and it's just some dude with money came to him and wanted to mooch off of his name and his creative potential to make film, and there's something tragic about that to me, that's become so integral to the comic book medium. Like, people don't paint paintings to be adapted into film, right? They paint to paint. People will write novels to be adapted, sure, but the greatest ones are just novels. And I think it's the same with comics, and always has been. Comics made to be something else are neither. They're not that thing they wish to be, and they're no longer comics. They're this parody of both. And with how much that happens, how ingrained it is now because of the MCU, it degrades the medium in my eyes so much, and just I don't think it's just my eyes. I think a lot of quality, there's a certain quality when you're creating in a medium for yourself, and because that medium is what you needed it to be. It was the medium in which you could express this story, not a method in which to prove to people with money that you can do something else. I hope most comic creators understand that. I hope more, especially indie creator-owned creators, understand that not only is that not going to happen for you, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry, but you don't... Morally, you shouldn't want to support that system to begin with. That system, if the Me Too movement didn't prove the small bit to you how fucked up that system is, that you shouldn't really want to be a part of it, then the comic book medium should also, like, you should not want to be a part of. The mainstream corporate end of this is so entrenched and so filled with human darkness, and the sacrifices you would have to make to create these things. It's the fact that is now why people create comics in, like, from what I've seen, almost by far the biggest reason people create comics is not to create comics. It's to create something else out of the comics. It's again, it's treating this incredible medium as a stepping stone instead of a glorious monument of art itself. It's taking a piss on it, and I hate that. And it kind of breaks my heart when big creators are doing it, because what it shows me is that the comics book industry in general does not have enough money to support itself. Why doesn't it have enough money? Because we're not creating comics. We're creating fucking overly expensive storyboards for film. Sorry. It gets me angry because it's just so sad. What comics and manga, sequential art, that ink on page coupled with writing, right? What that has done for me as a human being has been absolute magic, liberation, salvation, and so many wonderful things that true art can do. When you use that as a stepping stone, it's like, oh, that doesn't matter. It's just a stepping stone. It's just a way for me to do something better. As if it's better. As if these things are better. They make more money. Does that mean they're better? I've been affected by beautiful works like Berserk or Kraven's Last Hunt far more than any MCU film. Far more. Did it make as much money? Hell no. It doesn't have the corporate fucking heavyweight agenda behind it. It doesn't. People don't read because film is so much more passive of a medium. And it loses something because of that. I didn't expect this to become a discussion on how much, and I've gone through this discussion many times because it hasn't changed. It's gotten worse, if anything. It just breaks my heart. It's completely heartbreaking. I can promise you I will continue to make comics because comics is what I wish to make. Not because I want to make a bunch of money. Not because I want to make a movie. Not because I want to make a TV show. I want to make comics. Because comics has a magic no other medium has. And those of us brave enough and stupid enough to not only have read them and enjoyed them and let them into our soul to help us grow, but then go ahead and make them and put our weight behind them and our artistic time and efforts behind them. Is it brave? Am I glad more comics are being made than ever before? Absolutely. Am I sad that a lot of them are made not because they want to make comics? Absolutely. But I'm glad more people are expressing themselves, I guess. And I always will be. It's just something's lost when you engage a medium and you're not engaging that medium to make that medium. You're engaging that medium to make another medium. It's to me it's super disrespectful. But you know, as a fact of life, like, there is not money in comics. You have to be some crazy motherfucker to make money in comics. And I mean money. Like, and even the most money you can make in comics doesn't even come close to what's in film. I get it. I hate it. And I think there are not enough people working to make this medium compete. And even if it can't compete, I think there is glory in the effort of making it compete for its own sake and not so it can be something it's not. Man. Sad face. Super, super sad. Again, when I see an old master doing it too, it bothers me. Like, he had started, again, he got funded, he gets to make comics, right? And they're only going to continue one of these series, the most popular one at best, right? Like, most likely, period, because they're only going to vote on one. And from the numbers it's receiving on day one as what it could be, you saw how expensive the digitals are. Like, $12 for a digital comic with no, like, if the books are basically done, then there is no overhead for those comics, and you want to get them out to as many people as possible because there's no fucking overhead. You just have to ship them digitally. Click a button. There is a weasel in that project, and I think it's the guy who created the imprint, Spellbound. And he sees, he's an investor, not an artist. And I can just feel that in the campaign, and it sucks. I don't like seeing it. I'm gonna vent this real quick because it bugs me. But then I don't know. We are at an hour, so it's. I'd like to go like another 20 minutes if possible. So I'm here. Ask questions if you're interested. Otherwise, I'll probably keep rambling. By the way, anybody who stuck through that ramble, much appreciated. Alright, I vented it. I put it into words and threw it out into the ether. That should allow me to let it pass. I could go on and on about how much that bothers me. And I did not expect it to go that far in that direction. Again, I was hoping, like, this is a relatively, like, this is an incredible creator with a relatively unknown project. I was hoping I could just pump it up and sell it for you folks. And instead, face an all too common tragedy. Oh yeah! On a better note, it was, I think yesterday, Rumiko Takahashi's birthday. She is an incredible creator who has seen the fame she deserved and then some. She's one of those creators who was so good that it didn't matter, like, the walls in front of her. She just smashed them and just kept producing excellent work and has affected so many lives with how incredible her work has done. And some of it's because of the anime adaptations, but it wouldn't exist at all without how incredible her comics are. I want to finish this cup. I think I had a half cup before I got on here, though. So I've got another page of Jack to show you, folks. Let's do that. Let's do that because it's fun. This is a tribute page too. I don't know how, or an homage page, I guess you'd call it. I don't know how many people will get it, and it's an homage to film because film can do these things I'm talking about, but film for film's sake. It used to be, and it's basically a genre that's completely died, is that film would be adapted into comics. Isn't that a thing? But yeah, fucking love how this page came out. There's some goofiness, like watch. Of course, Maxie's line art can be very loose, and that's part of its charm. But here, for instance, I was talking about the hand on the gun on that cover to Wisdom. There's one of those problems right here, where Maxie didn't do a thumb around here because he wanted to show more boot. But then here, that he totally had not a thumb, a pinky. Where'd you hear the funk out of that? Voice spot? Maybe I cussed subconsciously and didn't realize. So that's an inaccuracy, that's an incongruity, but it matters so much less. And then from there, like you can see that there are some with 3 fingers and such. So it is what it is. But I love this page. Maxie set it up differently than how I would have. In fact, how I wrote it. It's supposed to be a flat pressed floor, like super. Things are supposed to get less destroyed as we move forward and more like corporate and organized. Things are still rusted and breaking and falling apart, but like somebody's making an effort to make it look nice. Part of the metaphor I was trying to do with this book. But I get it. He wanted a pile of stuff, and it looks like on page, being able to do this wreckage makes so much more of a dynamic page than what I was going for. And then right here, he kind of did that. And then, of course, his face here is great. So I'm really happy with this page. It came out great. It's why we have this back and forth and why my script is not the final word is so that he can do things like this and make the page pop more than what I thought. What I thought, too, would be an incredible amount of consistent work that not great. Howdy, General Piggy. This is page 17 of issue number 4. We are now more than halfway done with line art. We're getting there. Hopefully this month's colors and letters start. So we'll be getting there. Yeah. But yeah, this is the latest page. A YouTube exclusive at the moment. But yeah. And then the only other thing you missed is a very long rant on the D Multiverse from J.M. DeMatteis, which I fucking love that creator. But I went on a big rant on why I don't love that project. It sucks because I literally went into it today trying to pitch it on why it's cool and you should go support it, and I just kept hitting like the walls I hit with a lot of comics these days, that they're not made to be comics. They are made to be something else. They're basically very, very expensive storyboards for film and TV, and that's my... I hate those kind of comics. It's basically admitting that the comic book medium itself is simply a stepping stone. And then when I see it from a legendary creator who has created just majestic works of art in the medium, it's just an extra little bit of heartbreak. Thank you so much, Mr. Piggy. I guess I should keep up your rank. General Piggy. Thank you so much for backing. I hope you enjoy our work. I think it's exceedingly unique. You're not going to find it anywhere else. Again, with this, it keeps turning on. Apologies there. I'm going to have to maybe change the term to that so it triggers less. Just add something, another word to it. My robot band leader here is... he's kind of in his own world. Skip track. Sometimes he does his job, sometimes not so much. That's the problem with using voice commands. The AI ain't that smart all the time. Like, when did I say effective small? That's what he thinks I said. Winning a seat, in fact, it thought I said. Some leniency. Like, it's, it's hearing a lot of things I'm not saying. That's a really cool cover. But yeah, I'm super excited. If you get the itch to make sure that you backed correctly, we've always had at least issue number 1 available free to read online. So if anybody gets a little wonky with what our quality could be or what have you, like, we've never shied away from letting the work speak for itself. In fact, if it couldn't have, I doubt it would have gotten very far, because I can barely speak. Period. Outside of writing, basically. Yeah, but yeah, man, I just spent, God, 45 minutes rambling about how much I dislike that type of comic creation. It bugs me. I never wanted anything I was doing in comics to be anything but comics. I love the medium. I do animations because they are eye-catching, but they're panels from the comic, right? I use them as a marketing device for the comic. An animation or live-action adaptation of my work would be good, simply because of how iconic the work we're already doing is, not because we are making storyboards for TV. But I don't want that right away either. I don't think Jack said what it needs to do in this medium, and a lot of indie creators come in here and they're just like, we're gonna make a movie. How do we do that? Well, since comics is the lowest barrier to entry, and we think they're popular, thanks to the MCU, I know how to make a comic. Heartbreaking. Terribly heartbreaking. But it is what it is. But yeah. Oh, excellent. So I keep sending out basically every update I do on the campaign, my friend. Asks you to email what you want. If you haven't already, you might have been one of the folks who already emailed what they want. But if you haven't already, make sure to email IronVerseComics@gmail.com with your sketch card request. I'll just need your backer ID or the email you backed with. Something to make sure, like, you know, you in particular, I know you backed, but like, you could say this is General Piggy and somebody else could have said it, right? It's just for bookkeeping and logistics. What you want, and we'll get right on those. Mrs. H has done all of the sketch cards on her end that needed to be done already. That we've gotten the what you want. We can't make a sketch card for you unless you tell us what you want. unless we're about to go to fulfillment and enough people haven't, then we will do probably a Jack Iron sketch. Like you're going to get what you're going to get if you don't get to us before fulfillment. But particularly if you got one of the Monk sketches, which are very high quality, he's an incredible talent. Please make sure to email us the character you would like him to draw, so we can get that list done, and then he can just knock them out when he's ready. That would be ideal. Again, IronVerseComics@gmail.com with your backer ID or the email you used or both. Please get to us ASAP so I can add you to the list and make sure it gets done. Where did you hear the funk? Okay, you were one of them then. Where did you hear the funk? The funk. I'm changing that right now. I'll just keep forgetting. I liked it because he would usually, when I would use the F word, he would butt in with that, and it would remind me and hopefully decrease the amount of cussing. But yeah, no, we are changing that sucker up right now. Name the funk. That's fine. Funk command is what I need to do. So edit name. Use name as command. No. Command. I guess I'll do bring the funk. That should be much harder to do. Okay. Apply. Okay. The funk. Bring the funk. It thought I said bring the file. The funk. Nope, it's still... Oh, I know why. I know why. I have to run it once with the new command before it actually applies. The funk. The funk. Okay, didn't trigger. Bring the funk. Bring the funk. All right, we're good. We're good. Yeah, fix that. All right, so you're one of them. Excellent. So we've got that then, amigo. Thank you so much for applying there. You'd be surprised how many people actually back these sketch cards and have not gotten back to me, no matter how many times I've bugged them. So my last resort, when we're getting ready for fulfillment, or close to it, at least when production finishes is probably when I'll do it, and getting ready to send out the digitals, which will be when they're at the printer. I will individually email those who are left. And then if that doesn't work, they will just be getting a Jack Iron sketch, and that should be fine. So again, thank you for interacting. I'm glad I fixed that. That should not be a problem anymore. I think it has the wrong mic on, too. It does. It's the wrong mic. It should always be that mic. Why is it not that mic? It would be far more accurate if it was that mic instead of the webcam mic. Why is that set like that? Configuration. Push that. I don't need that. Notifications. Options. You'd think it would be here. Pick the stock. Ah. Very odd. Yeah, you should be able to pick the default mic. Advanced settings? No, you can't pick a default mic, so I have to go ahead and make sure that's right every time. That's free program, and it works, so I'll take it. Oh, I didn't know Werewolf by Night had Man Thing. That's neat. I haven't seen that. I heard it was good. I've every Marvel show out of the MCU shows, right? Like, there's some good Marvel shows, but back in the day, like, none of them have hooked me. The Netflix ones did okay. Like, I enjoyed those, but the MCU ones, like, I've tried them, and it's not like I hate them or anything. I definitely don't have the passion a lot of people do against them, but like, they've just never hooked me. And I was gonna try Werewolf by Night, but I didn't get a chance to yet. But I didn't know Man Thing was in it, and that's cool. The Man Thing movie is so stupid from back in the day. It's like the perfect B horror movie kind of deal. Yeah. All right, okay, cool. We're almost done here. A lot of rambling. First 15 minutes was a lot of troubleshooting because for some reason it wouldn't hold quality. Wouldn't hold a strong signal. God, I couldn't find the word. And then I have to decide if I want to go to town today or not. I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I'll figure it out. I got work tomorrow, which I'm terrified and excited about, so we'll see how that goes. I guess I can just call it here. This is a mess of a stream, but there is some good quality discussion and such in it, so hopefully that leaves it some sort of value. Okay, at least OBS is using the proper mic. That would have bugged the hell out of me. I still have some coffee. I don't know. Maybe I don't finish the coffee. I guess I'll just leave it here. This is the... By here, I mean this. What? So I need to make a command to finish it, otherwise I'll have to use the bring command for both, and that doesn't work. I do it for the metal, right? Like, I have both for that, so... Yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, I'll leave it here. This seems to be the summation of today's stream. Skip track.
As you wish.
Skip track.
As you wish.
Yeah, something a bit more dour, please, because this is annoying. So yeah, I'll leave it there. I hope you folks have a good one. I'll catch you next time, maybe later today. I don't know. I've been wanting to stream a game for, like, God, a week or two at this point. By the time I get to, like, a position in my day where I can, I just don't want to. So we'll see if that happens again today, or if I see you folks again. I don't know the next time I'll see you if I don't do it today. So you folks take care of each other. Vaya con Dios, mi amigos, and adios.